Hello friends, Supreme Commanders and those on YouTube that have randomly gone and clicked. It's been a while since I've done this and it's always hard to get back into the flow of doing videos when you've taken a break. You sort of get into the swing of it and then the next time it's like, you've got that red record button and it's like, what do I say? So I'm just going to say it. It's time for Tactical Takeover. We've got ourselves a 1373 average rating here on Setons Clutch. It is an epic, so do make time. I don't want to get too precise on timings, but let's just say it's an epic and then some. Just 7 rating points between the two teams today. Let's go ahead, get into it. Let's unpause. Oh, that was, well, a little bit rough, right? Yeah, no messing around on this one, and I will take some time during the game to explain where I've been. Alright, let's start with Team 1 then, for no other reason than they are Team 1 here on the northern side of the map, the northeast. In the forward position there for Team 1, what a name that is, Titongus. Sounds like, well, something that's gigantic that would be found on the front of a woman. Can't even say that anymore, I don't know, but in any case, he's in yellow, he's in Cyber, you know my stupid jokes. For everyone that finds it funny, I get 10 people leaving a complaint saying it ain't. In any case, he's forward there for Cyber in yellow, as we say 1300 there. Going first land, moving to the north on the beach in burgundy red, we've got ourselves Kretin. Also Cyber 1000 going at first land as well. He's got second air queued up. Going round clockwise in the rear. Gear for T1 is Exselsior, 1900 going Aeon, also having started first land. No doubt getting, some manual reclaim in on the tree clumps. No surprise from a 1900 Exselsior, of course, one of the old-time favourites here on FAF. As we finish off with T1 on rock position, we have ourselves Nutteber, or Nutteber. Nutteber sounds better, but Nutteber it is. He's a 1300, also Aeon. Also going first land on the cliff position there. So Team 1, entirely Cyber or Aeon. No Seraphim, no UEF. Not a team for me. Switching over to Team 2 then in the forward position. Faction that is for me. Leading the charge in Bran, perhaps not the colour, is MrScience. Yeah, not the colour for me, ain't that brown. Do you know, as a kid, I could never understand why would you pick brown of all the colours, and then ever so slightly, probably a sign that you're approaching middle age, you think, actually, you know, brown ain't quite so bad. Browns and greys, not as bad as they were as a kid. Either way, UEF there, going towards the mid for Team 2. With support on his beach position in gold, we've got ourselves MoreThanAJedi, also UEF. He's an 1100 there, having also gone first land. And following the standard meta these days of going towards the mid, we see a similar thing there from Team 1 as well. Kretin also supporting, making it a 2v2 in short order. In the rear with a gear then for Team 2. Let's get this finished off in green. We've got Gabber, also Cyber, also having gone first land, getting his fast mass upgrade there. Something that's kind of unique, I think, to the Setons and the rear slot. Very, very fast mass upgrades. You can only really fund the mass extractor upgrades because of all these tree clumps and the energy found therein, because that's going to be the real sticking point. I mean, aside from the mass itself, right? But I mean, look how few energy generators he's got. He's got 1 hydro and about 5 P-gens there, at least at the time the mass extractor was upgrading. Probably had fewer P-gens earlier on. Anyway, let's finish this off. Greedyscoobs, another Aeon 1400 this time, having gone first air, going second land, and with that 4 minutes he is touching down with his transport. I have seen some very fast island grabs. We see engineers over here from Nutteber. Transport's already returned. So I'd say 4 minutes is relatively slow. But he's got his air screen in front of the island, unless Kretin had done some side skirting move. That was always going to go for Greedyscoobs. Alright, with that introduction's complete, let's go to the mid, see where the action is going. Here we see the mass. For whatever reason, MoreThanAJedi quite late onto the scene. Kretin is there actually staying away from the action, hoovering up the mass from the sea. Usually players a little happier to throw themselves into the action. MrScience here with a cheeky reclaim, trying to get the Salem wreck. Kretin, well, if he doesn't shoot the engineer, this engineer is going to get about a second's worth of mass. Not sure that was worth it. Kretin actually under the water, unable to shoot the engineer. He could get off a manual reclaim if he was there. Does then get off a couple of shots. Also surprised he didn't take off this engineer prior to the reclaim. But in any case, Science there, I think, quite lucky to get as much mass as he does. Down to just last couple of wrecks. Got to say, these players hoovering up the mass quite quickly. I think all concentration was on reclaim. Sometimes you get players focusing a little more on damage output, but looks like everybody was happy to reclaim. Titongus coming off slightly worse from all of that. Having been, well, it was one-on-one for a while, of course, the UEF commander stronger to begin with anyway. And then he's had a little bit of a 2v1. Titongus throwing his army forwards to allow him to drop into reserve for a little while. Health dropping below 50%. 6.5 minutes, we have our first drop on the cards here. Greedyscoobs appears to be the first player with intention on going aggressive. Let's have a little look what the two teams can see. Team 1 there. And anyone paying attention will see the transport there. It was only on view briefly. I don't think anybody saw it. It's on radar again. Just needs one of the players to ping it. And it looks like Kretin is actually beginning pursuit. There is the ping. I suspect that was from Kretin himself because he was already pursuing the transport prior to the ping. Goes into a blind spot again. Greedyscoobs moving to the north. And there is the drop. I don't think you can blame anybody for that. You're never going to have complete radar coverage at this stage of the game. These are Tech 2 mass extractors belonging to Exselsior. 6 mass apiece. And assuming Greedyscoobs gets all 3 of them, that's going to be 18 mass per tick. 18.5 if Exselsior finishes this mass storage. And he might just bails. And here is the response from Team 1. Kretin sends in the first bomber. Greedyscoobs does take all the mass points. Exselsior already trying to rebuild them. Titongus with a few land units as well. Just 3 artillery pieces remain. Greedyscoobs actually going for the factory here, probably trying to slow down Excelsior's ability to rebuild, but with so many engineers in the area, even if he had got the factory, I don't think it would have meant much, but I think the 18 mass per tick will have hurt Exselsior quite some at this stage of the game. Certainly will have screwed with his build order. Meanwhile, if we come down south, into the southern pond, it would seem that MoreThanAJedi having a bit of trouble getting into the sea at 1100 facing off a 13. There's a 200 rating point difference, which, okay, is pretty big, certainly on a 1v1. On Setons, not so much. 200 rating points, it's far more to do with who's good at which slot. You know, you can have somebody that's really good at one and not so good at another, and the 200 rating points would favour the weaker player. It just depends. Greedyscoobs with a pretty good air patrol there. I actually have to say, same with Jedi. If we take a look at the other teams, Kretin has a little air presence over here. Nutteber with none. Jedi does get himself a Tech 1 torpedo launcher. That's going to be crucial at this stage of the game versus these frigates. He's also got himself a single sub out. Which, okay, does take its time to chew through. I mean, look at this frigate, 25 kills. I mean, I suspect most, if not all of those are going to be engineers. We've got another 5 and 7, so that's 12. That makes 37 kills between these 3 frigates. Which, yeah, no wonder Jedi was saying something about, I'm getting locked out. Yeah. Jedi going T2. Well, pointing Tech 2. Yeah, Nutteber has gone T2 on the Navy. For reasons not entirely clear to me, is not rushing a build. Instead, set a few engineers to produce T2. And now is holding off. That doesn't feel he's got the eco to start producing Navy yet, but well, when is the right time? 3 frigates perhaps isn't the right time to stop production. Oh, okay, another 3 further back. Certainly when you've got a sub incoming, and of course being Aeon, they have no ability to fire at any air. We've got a couple of T1 bombers here. Nutteber recognizes it perfectly. He splits his engineers off and loses only 1 engineer in that. He does get heavily damaged on the second, but he'll be happy with that, managing to get himself a turret online in the nick of time. Still holding off producing units. I'm not sure I agree. Even if you just build 1 T2 sub or just something. Perhaps he feels he's bought enough time versus Jedi. But then why not keep the pressure on? Just put a couple of attack boats with it. The anti-air capable T1 if you don't feel you can afford T2. I guess he's going to go all out on eco. Let's see how that compares versus Jedi. Jedi on 56 mass per tick. Nutteber on 114. So that's well over... Well, it's twice, isn't it, really? Let's face it. And that is going to be a problem. Northern Pond, meanwhile, things quite quiet. Through the mid. How that bomber survived. Oh, there's why. 6 kills. It's a 5-star bomber. And it is now going to go down. I did wonder, he's got like 2 interceptors right behind a bomber. How are they not shooting it down? Well, because it's a 5-star. You don't see them too often at this stage of the game. I think it was actually the ASF there from Exselsior that took the kill. Gabber scouting Excelsior's base as we speak. Checking nobody's trying to rush a nuke or nothing crazy. Seen that before. Certainly possible for a nuke to leave the silo around minute 25. If the air player's really going for it. And seeing this more and more these days, certainly a tactic I used to love, be it UEF or Seraphim. The cheeky TAC missile comp. And at Tech 2, you're able to reload those missiles pretty quick. And he bags himself a Tech 2 mass extractor there. Titongus not yet wise to it. Carries on building the storage without the mass point. 10 kills so far for the commander. That's about to jump. He gets 4 that time, including the all-important mass point. Almost Tech 3. Just needs 120 more mass to be there. Factories are always, you know, Navy or otherwise, always very good targets for attack missile com as well. Out comes another one. Very slow response time here from Titongus. Not really. Oh, he has now realised. Starts to build. Oh. Wow. That's what you call greed there. Trying to bag a 2 for 1. Got neither. And Titongus now with his first TAP missile defense. Out comes another. Looks like it's going to the same spot, and indeed it is. And it does impact, and again 0 damage. I can only assume MoreThanAJedi perhaps thought he partially damaged them and needed to get another missile in to finish the job. No, didn't damage any. Titongus now knows what time it is. He's got TAP missile defense on, and that's his base covered. Nutteber's the next one. He's already got attack missile defense further back, and it's Aeon. The best in the business. And there we go. Harmlessly redirected. And the worth going for the factories, if any. Certainly the Tech 2 headquarters. Is that in range? Not quite. Certainly the lower tier factories are. Come on then. Somebody else somewhere. At 16 minutes then, let's have a little look at the ecos. Well, there's a massive disparity. If this is to go by, Team 2, 830 versus 690 as we look. Now 850 versus 700. We take a look at the overall. 330 versus 310. Which is around a 6% advantage as real time goes for Team 2. And this commander here responsible for 12 to 18 of those, and he is now firing for the headquarters. He's going to need 3 of those. Of course, the engineers repairing the factory, and now with the TAP missile defense, that's going to go online anyway. But even if the next missile hit, it wouldn't have quite been enough. Aeon TAP missile defense does defend. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Let's slow time down. But the Aeon, as we know, is kind of a unique missile anyway. Oh, he's actually going for the factory. I was hoping he might go for the base. Very legit target. But they deflect the missile upwards, slightly to the side, but it's more upwards than anything. And Jedi with 2 destroyers on him. And we'll go back to full speed. Nutteber's decision to back off. Okay, may have seen a bigger navy coming. At least to begin with these frigates, certainly his destroyers would have won. I'm not sure if Nutteber saw the destroyer further back, but these frigates by themselves are of no threat. And of course, Nutteber with his frigates of his own felt like the decision to leave Jedi be very deliberate. Jedi now with a destroyer that's gotten far too close is going to be lucky to hang on to that, and that is a gone. That is the kill. Jedi here is going to get it. What a nice steal. I don't think there were any excuses there from Nutteber. It was a little late in the day. The TAC missile com been off your coastline for several minutes at that point, and you knew it. Kretin with a decent line of scouts on his side of the map. Nutteber's been otherwise engaged, and Jedi, if you recall, was kicked right out the pond. What was it? 5? It's a bit more like 10 minutes ago, and he's now way beyond the 50-way mark with a presence. Nutteber is playing a little bit too cautiously, in my opinion. He's yielded a little too much ground there. There's no need to have a TAC missile com halfway or thereabouts in the sea when you've got all this navy. Mostly T1, if not entirely, although Science now contributing. But if we take a look in the mid, we've not given it much attention here. Titongus drawing a line, trying desperately to hold. He's got 4 destroyers here. Once they focus in on MrScience, I don't care if you've got the gun, nano, shield or otherwise, 4 destroyers chasing you down will dissuade you. Now we've got our first real navy engagement. Nut forcing Jedi back. Although Science now with a second destroyer on scene could do worse than hand his destroyers over to Jedi. I suppose 1500s may want to do it himself. I mean, he's pretty much shut down thanks to the navy here from Kretin. And he's going to want Greedyscoobs to do something about this. He's losing stuff unnecessarily. I think Greedyscoobs has the ability to at least cause this navy to think. I don't agree with Greedy's decision to hand back. He can at least move forward and force this navy to redirect. He could do something, but as it stands, Science is losing everything without any ability to fire back. And he's got a wide open Tech 3 mass extractor here as well. It could be at risk of going down. In fact, it's entirely T3. And here it goes. It's going to be feeling pissed off about this. Jedi fires a missile. This is a good decision. If any destroyer stays still without a cruiser in the mix. And that looks like what's happening. Don't say he fired at the one. He fired at the one destroyer that was killed. What are the odds of that? The other 10 pummeling away, and finally Greedyscoobs does come in. I mean, again, I don't even agree with this. His frigates behind and keep them moving. Surely at 1400 players are aware that a bit of micro. Maybe he feels his numbers are so overwhelming he doesn't need to micro, but nonetheless, MrScience keeping the pressure on Titongus. Meanwhile, this is painful to see. Nutteber's not using his forces together. I don't understand why. Maybe attention was elsewhere. The whole point is to increase firepower, and if nothing else, give the enemy more targets to shoot at. Looks like he's firepower of the Aeons there. Others say their navy is pretty devastating, especially against I don't know, but let's say sub 2,000 rated players. You need to be microing an awful lot to withstand the Aeons, of course. Will be some sub 2K players that can do that very well, but I suppose each to their own, and that is the sound of a battleship. Science with 2 battleships on scene. I really am surprised here with Nutteber. You know, he outrates his direct opponent. He had him locked out, and then he retreated all the way back. There was a couple of bombers and 1 tech, 1 sub, and he yielded all the pond. North side, things are a little quiet. I mean, you can definitely tell that this game is a little lower rated than I would typically cast. This is one of the reasons why I don't always cast them. Players do tend to be a little more cagey. Of course, there are exceptions. Titongus is really going for it, as is MrScience. Of course, the air players being air. Primary job is to respond to air incursions. Although, if things are quiet, you can always help out in other ways. But yeah, these battleships are going to tear up Titongus' base, and it doesn't look like there's much he can do about it. I mean, Nutteber, you know, you may think, oh, I'll leave it be, it's not my base. Yeah, but it's going to be your base next, pal. You best try and make a move, especially while your opponents, you know, you're 2 or 1v2, right? You're against 2, especially while their navies are split up. If there's ever a time to attack, that's it. And here we go. You need to swarm, especially these battleships. You need to swarm them, and that's exactly what he's doing. I may have been a little critical of our friend here in Khaki, but he's making up for it now. Destroyer there with 20 kills, a 2-star, one back here with 27. And now no choice but to back off, and in Nutteber now has a battleship of his own. And now with its first kill, I think it was just a frigate, but a kill nonetheless. And Jedi still in the sea. And this is kind of risky because Aeon, I'm sure, also has access to T3 mobile sonar. UEFCom cannot hide from that. And a sonar here would pick up the commander and the somewhat unusual movements of it. And at this stage of the game, can be sniped very quickly. Battles raging in the northern pond as well. Titongus having elected to go into the northern pond. Brings his battleships to defend against some mobile missile launchers that get a little close to his base. And I think he was quite lucky here that Nutteber decided to attack when he did, forcing the battleships away from Titongus' base for a while. How are things going in the north? I'd say they're pretty close, you know. At first glance, Scooby seems to have numbers, but once you factor in Titongus' battleships as well, it's pretty close. And there goes one of the destroyers there from Greedy. Greedy, who is throwing forward a sonar, so yes, the Aeons do. I mean, I can't see any reason why they wouldn't have the T3 sonar. Of course, the Seraphim didn't. Although I believe they added the ability for Seraphim to move their Tech 2 sonars. That was never a thing back in the day. And Exselsior, who's been quiet up until this point, 30 restorers, make that 36. And there's a distinct lack of anti-air here from Team 2. There's a lot of battleships There's a few destroyers, there's engineers, but I don't see a single anti-air. And Nutteber, who was on the brink of getting booted out, is got to feel good about this. And this is a mistake and a half. Gabber leaves his ASF. Should say Exselsior leaves his restorers unguarded. Gabber moves in. Now we've got whalers over here from Gabber. That was the initial target from Exselsior. I'm not sure. Do they not have... Well, they do have an Omni. Exselsior will be kicking himself over that, but he does still have a few restorers. Well, more than a few. He's managed to rebuild most of them. And here is the air engage. You're going to want to involve your restorers in that air engage if possible. Although I suspect Exselsior has numbers anyway. Yes, he does. Gabber knows it. Gabber makes the mistake of retreating all in one direction. Making it easier for Exselsior to pursue. If ever there's a time to learn the split move command when you've got a superior air force, up your jacksie, that is the time. Exselsior moving in with his restorers. I'm surprised he doesn't... maybe he feels that he's turned the tide. It looks like it. Nutteber there appears to have numbers now with battleships. So now the restorers are moving back. Payback time. All the damage has been at the other side of the map for a while. Exselsior continues to pursue the air force of Gabber over the top of his base. Gabber, who has strategic missile defense online and towards the front, and now producing SAMs. And Exselsior is about to lose his air dominance right here. He realizes it. He bails. Gabber does the right thing and pursues him. I suspect attention with Exselsior is almost entirely wrapped up with these restorers. And it looks like target prioritization mode there is exclusively on mass extractors. Yeah, Exselsior, come on, man, move your stuff. Your restorers are eating flak as well as enemy ASF. It's the Aeon T3 gunship. Better at anti-air, not so good at air-to-ground versus, say, the Whaler or the UAF broadswords, who have almost no anti-air, and it's almost all air-to-ground. Although, against certain targets, they're good. They're good at experimental aircraft. Battles raging elsewhere, but we'll stick with the restorers. Focusing on the build capacity now. It does look like Exselsior will lose his restorers, but that's a lot of build capacity down. And there they go. That will make Nutteber happy. Nutteber, who is now... Oh, come on, don't give up all the territory you've just fought for. Yes, they're very... Yeah, I don't understand Nutteber's decision to yield so much territory. I mean, he's allowing MrScience access to a lot of reclaim. Meanwhile, in the northern pond, Exselsior has managed to get a few more restorers together. And actually, his team doing quite well at the minute. Team number 1, Team North, having almost been kicked out the southern pond. Things looking much better now for Team 1, and Team 1 looking very strong in the north. Greedyscoobs probably a little miffed. They are almost entirely AA. You guys got to win. Coming from Exselsior from Team 1. They have infinite eco, says Exselsior. Speaking of eco then, Team 2 is 2.1 thousand mass per tick. Team 1, 1,800. Team 2's overall score, 2.7 million versus 2.3. million. So score, for those new here, takes into account all the stuff you've built, all the stuff you've killed, as well as your own economy, and then you add that up for every player on your team. There's your score. Sort of a good all-round indicator. Of course, one thing it can't score for is that you've got a group of bombers about to snipe the enemy commander, which will, of course, be the end of the game. But more often than not, I don't know actually what the stats is. Perhaps I should know. But I imagine 9 times out of 10, the highest score player wins. Some not so great positioning here from Kretin. Losing some high value ships due to inferior positioning. Greedyscoobs taking the opportunity together with Gabber to throw in some torpedo bombers, and that's going to set Team 1 back even further. Exselsior does move in with a few ASF. Exselsior actually... this does not look good for Team 1 and their air. Exselsior had complete dominance. He's got 46 ASF. Gabber, who we saw virtually wiped out, 199. That's going to be 200 by the time I refresh. There we go, 204. So that is at least a 4-to-1 advantage for Team 2 down here on air. Gabber, who does have a few restorers, but nowhere near enough to make up for that disparity. And so is reduced to hit and run tactics, trying to pick off what he can where he can, doing so effectively. So 35 minutes in, yet to see a commander go down. Mass-wise, the gap's closing a little. Of course, rating-wise, Team 1 slightly the upper hand. Again, only slightly. It was like 7 points overall, which is, you know, not even 2 points per player, right? So it's about as even as it gets. Got ourselves the first experimental, at least, that I've noticed, and for once it's not a monkey load or a GC, it is in fact a Soul Ripper, a flying Beetleborg. Slow time down a bit. It's been ages since I've done a cinematic. I'm not usually one to do them, but you know what, for today, it's been a while. Let's go back to full speed, and here he goes. Firing his laser. I suspect target is the production facilities, and there it is. Huge amounts of splash damage from the weapons fired down from this bug. And there's Titongus's naval HQ. Almost went down, but look at all that build capacity. We've already got 100 kills on this thing. Aircraft carrier. And in comes the air defending. I'm not sure there's much Team 1 can do about this right now. I mean, static anti-air's got to be about the only response. They've got a couple of SAM sites there. A little bit of flak as well. Somehow the Soul Ripper's down to half health. 147 kills. Leaving the Navy HQ. Surely that's got to be a priority. A couple of whalers here as well from Gabber, and there finally does go the HQ. More SAMs, says Exselsior. Absolutely. Exselsior, the air player in charge for Team 1. Looking on helplessly. To think he'd completely wiped Gabber's air out. No, what was it? 5 minutes ago now. Could argue there was a little bit of missed micro after the damage was done. All I can hear is a shed load of torpedo bombers, and now torpedo bombers on the southern side. I love this play from MrScience. Realizes his team has air and puts in an awful lot of air of his own. Knows there's going to be little that can stop it. Titongus gone very heavy on the SAMs, and they're going to shoot down so many aircraft here. If Team 2 are not careful, there's going to be so much mass wreckage having shot down just from the SAMs alone, and they may risk losing air back. I mean, we saw the same thing happen 5 minutes ago, so it can go the other way as well. Kretin has done wonders as a 1000 rated player to stay in the game. He's compressed his forces right back to the manufacturing point. There's little wiggle room else for him to go. He's putting SAMs in the sea. The bug now with 166 kills. It's a 4-star. It needs about another 9,000 mass kill to get its final rank. Make eye to see the para. Has somebody got a para? Well, I've missed one before, so it's possible I can miss one again. Let's have a look. Gabber is working on a Scaphis. He's not long started that. We've got quantum gateways. Just regular stuff over there. Jedi ain't gonna have one unless he's got an engineers. Now, there's certainly nothing in the front. And nothing off to the side. Quick look. Team 1 at risky of getting booted out of the pond. Titongus, who'd been instrumental in preventing the collapse earlier on, has lost his stuff. He's going for harms. That's, you know, a reasonable decision at this point. I think it's a bit late to try and get naval yards back on. You could get Tech 1 naval yards and spam frigates, but that's not much else. Kretin, who's gone entire navy. Oh, here's the Paragon. It's about 90% complete there, belonging to Exselsior. That would explain why Excelsior's dropped right off on the air game recently. He's been focusing on the eco. Go back to full pace. Well, they're going to need something. Let's have a look at Team 2's view. And there you see it. They've got the mids. They've got the majority of both ponds. Will that Paragon save the day? I'm sure there's somebody saying, well, it's an epic, so it's probably going to do something. You're probably right. We'll have to wait and see. This game did go down on the very end of March the 31st, as I record this. As I'm casting this, it is... I should know what day of the week it is. Tuesday the 8th of April. Lunchtime. And yeah, things not looking good for Team 1 in the north at all. The Paragon can't come soon enough. And it is online. There we go. And it's already producing 7,500 mass per tick. If you take a look at this scoreboard there for mass incomes, it is live. Look at Exselsior. By himself, more mass than the rest of the players in the entire game combined. And he will be able to produce... like nobody's business. All that 10,000 mass per tick. He's actually drained the Paragon. The Paragon that was... oh, he's now finished his first salvation. It's not often that you see a Paragon maxed out, but you saw it there. Exselsior that's got more than enough engineers to do just that. Let's have another look. 9,000, come on. 9.5. 9.8, 9. And there you see it, 10,000 mass per tick. Is that infinite? Well, not quite, but insofar as the game goes, it may as well be. And that right there looks like Billy Newt from MoreThanAJedi. He's a Tech 3 commander, so he's going to be able to reload pretty quick. And he's got himself a Continental to fly around. And that is going to take out a shit ton of build capacity, assuming it's allowed, and it is allowed to connect. There were cruisers further back that may have deflected it. I do think that's cool that the Cyberant cruisers deflect missiles as well. And the salvation rounds... Oh no, Gabber's base wide open. He does have a couple of shields, but they're blinking out, and the air grid there is going to go down. At least a third of it gone. He's working on a Scathis with heavy assist there from Jedi. Just wonder if Team 1... Well, no, they don't see it. In fact, it's been a while since they've been this side of town. So they're just firing into the base. Exselsior, who now has 7 of these online. Battleships pummeling Kretin's base. So Team 2 have now won the Northern Pond. Officially so. See from Team 2's point of view. Well, they knew where the para was, and they've certainly got eyes on the para, so they know exactly where it is. Oh, and what's this? Glad I was there to see that. We've got a teleporting... Could be commander, could be support commander. We're about to find out. We may as well stick with it. And there it is. And it is a support commander from MrScience. He's right by the Paragon. He blows up, but it's not enough to cause the destruction of the Paragon. It loses about a third of its health. It was the support commander detonating that caused the most of that. Oh, what was this? Is that a commander death or was it a nuke? There is so much going on at this stage of the game. I don't recall hearing the nuke launch notification, but that doesn't mean anything. Once in a while, you don't hear it. Jedi billing away. Well, there needs to be some counteractions for this. And there's the Scathis fire. Oh! The Scathis fire impacts the Paragon. The Paragon goes critical. And with that, Team 1 losing a huge energy resourcing option. They've still not got the Northern Pond. The Southern Pond isn't quite finished, but it don't look good. Although Nutteber was able to get a couple of T4 battleships, the experimental battleships from the Aeon. Scathis fire continues. Let's have a little look. How's it doing? 129 kills, now 165, 173, 130,000 mass. Do Team 1 know where it is? No, they do not. Team 1 desperately short of a scout. They've got all of these salvations. I wonder how many Exselsior has left. 6 of them. And he's got 32k of mass, but no energy. Using a donut now for defensive purposes. Titongus doing great if he can just keep this spam out. That will, he's got little else left to do, but if he can take his that responsibility away from the rest of this team. Kretin, who of course is going to be on defensive duties now, relegating to holding on to anything at all, or relegated to holding on to anything. He does have one support commander in the sea. Could potentially use that to reclaim some mass for himself. Scathis fire still goes. And here is the scout. It was needed a while ago, and there is the Scathis. There's the pig. Scathis now with 199 kills, 340 odd thousand mass. And Excelsior's base to Team 2. No, they've not scouted this. And again, this is a hallmark from, you know, higher tier players scouting all the time. They've been unable to scout this area and realize that there's a shitload of artillery coming from it. There is an attempt there from Gabber. He flies right over the middle of Samsite City. And Scathis fire now having a go on Nutteber's base. What started off as a quite a slow-paced game certainly made up for itself now. Of course, you know me, I don't pick shit games. Never have, never will. Oh, the Scathis with 200 kills. It risks going down. The salvation fire, it's more than a risk. It's finished. Gabber, who's done well to hold on to as much of his base as he has. I mean, 6 salvations. They've been on the go for a while now. At one point, there were 7. In comes another Billy. And that was a good one. 46,000 mass killed. And the Scathis there, I think the final rounds thereof, impacting on Nutteber's northern base. Nuke across the way, going for Greedy's side island. That is shot down. And it's donut on donut. Not every day of the week I see this taking place. Kretin's going to want to move his support commanders because they are eating battleship fire, and there's not much point in losing them for nothing. Megalith a little further back. But right now, salvations here going to get it. I'm just going to slow time down a little bit, otherwise we're not going to be able to see everything. We've got 6, this one with 130, this one with 10. Oh, we've got another Paragon online. The second Paragon of the game, this time belonging to Nutteber, and he's cranking up production. We've got a shed load of strategic bombers coming in from Gabber. Does Gabber know what time it is? Well, he's going directly for the salvations, so he will not have seen the Paragon. But with the stealth, that's not surprising. Lots of strat bombers getting shot down there. Excelsior not happy. Excelsior picked off by Gabber. So perhaps they weren't going for the salvations at all, but was going for the com. And with that, the highest rated player of the game is out. The first player to leave 49 minutes in. It's Excelsior. Advantage going to Team 2 now with 4 players to 3. God, I miscasted these. Yeah, I got iller and iller and iller on the back end of last year without putting too much of a damper on things. Not only was there no way that I could continue casting, but I couldn't even get out of bed. And it looks like he has identified it. This must be this Soul Ripper that got all of these kills, that's been on the go for a while. It's almost shot down. It did finally get its 5th star. 279,000 mass. It's going to pick off that nuke defense, and one more volley of SAMs. There it goes. This donut belonging to Team 2. It's going to want to take out that Paragon. It gets shot down before it gets there and doesn't quite have the energy to make it through. We'll go back to full view then. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a weird feeling to not just be in the bed. I mean, there's being in bed, right? Being ill. But wondering if you're going to wake up the next day. And it's a weird feeling because you start thinking about all the things that you wished you'd done that you hadn't, that then you think, right, I'm going to do them. Yeah, it's not good, but things been on the mend. Well, for at least a month since the sunshine come out. You know me, I was moaning an awful lot about the lack of sun. I actually think that was what was behind it. We had almost no sun for months. Anyway, back to the game. Science here with a shed load of spam. Would have done good, except GCs. Oh, they're pretty good at dealing with spam. You're going to want a few more units. In fact, dispatching one support commander, that'll be enough to deal with the spam that runs by. MoreThanAJedi very far forward. Perhaps trying to get a bit greedy there. He is, of course, the commander from Team 2 with the Billy Nuke. Is now running away, but there are two defending megaliths, as well as a Monkey Lord that is in pursuit. There is a GC coming in, though, from Greedyscoobs as well. So if we take a look, that right there is Team 1's influence. They do have Navy in the southern pond. Nutteber, well, MrScience together with Jedi, they must have thought Navy was won, backed right off. Of course, they assisted with the Scathis. And Nutteber, of course, comes up with the Paragon of his own. And looks like he put all of that into Navy. And suddenly retakes the southern pond. I'd written that pond off. I thought it was in Team 1's hands for sure. I guess Team 1 did as well. They just didn't finish it off with the coup de grace, and with it, Nutteber's made him pay, so there's a glimmer of hope. Nutteber, 1300, the joint highest rated player on his team, together with Titongus, after the expulsion of Exselsior. We've now got 3 donuts on scene from Greedyscoobs, who must be thinking about making a move for this Paragon. Jedi firing Billy after Billy. I'm not sure quite how many tap missile defenses it requires to deflect a Billy, but it's a lot more than it used to be. 1 used to do the trick. Greedy going for the experimentals here that are probably going to take out that GC, and they do. Just before the donut takes out one of the megaliths. That's going to be megalith number 2, and more Billy Nukes impacting all the time. So we're 53 minutes into game. Team 2 controlling Northern Pond and all of their side and part of Team 1's base. Team 1 controlling half of their side of the map, all of the Southern Ponds, and importantly, at least for now, have themselves a Paragon. So who do you think's got it? Team 1, of course, losing their strongest player as well. Although Nutteber there. No way! No way! How did all those 3 donuts suddenly die? I've not seen that before.
Strategic launch detected.
I mean, there was SAM coverage, but all 3 of them, really? All at once? I'm not sure if donuts have some sort of splash damage to try and dissuade players from stacking the donuts. or not, whether that's a new thing, but either way, I was not expecting to see them all tumble down. I'm of course assuming that there wasn't a self-destruct given. So we have ourselves a nuke traveling across the field. Let's see how that goes. Gabber shoots it down. Let's have a little look. How are we doing with regards to the... That's been handed off. Titongus now controlling one salvation. In fact, I think they're down to just one. All the rest of them appear to have been picked off. Big attack there to the north from MoreThanAJedi. Quite a lot of Tech 3 there, which there will need to be because we've got support commanders, and that Monkey Lord is so close to going online. Does Kretin have the eco? Yes, he does. The question is, will the support commanders last long enough to finish it off? And yes, they do. Of course, the support commanders can then assist with the Monkey Lord. And that is going to be a clutch save. And there needed to be something. Titongus was otherwise completely exposed, as was the whole rest of this base there at the back. There is a GC further. That needs to be redirected to the north. Titongus is on the run, and I don't blame him. GC finally engaging some of these units. He needs to redirect it a little bit, but that looks like a save. The solitary salvation still pummeling bases to the south, but one salvation by itself at this stage of the game, even if you've got Cybran shields, should be just about defendable. Problem is, players are rebuilding on the existing wrecks, so one is soon to become two. 3 GCs here from Greedyscoobs moving in, trying to close in on the Paragon. I'm surprised Team 1 didn't have... Whoops. Let's try that again. There we go. I'm surprised Team 1 didn't have something more suitable to deal with a land incursion. Now these 3 GCs are moving in. There's a lot of Oblivion point defense, but the question is it going to be enough? The first GC about to go down gets a rank of vet, but that is going to go down. And it looks like GC 2 and 3 are both in range of the Paragon. They're primering it, and they won't going to need that shield to go down for long. And it is down, and there goes the Paragon. Shield goes down, the Paragon goes up, and with it, the second experimental power gen for Team 1 is down. They still have themselves the GCs. Titongus showing surprise there that his team stopped building GCs. And so that's what Team 2 sees.
Commander
That's
under
what
attack.
Team 1 sees. Commander under attack. That was Titongus. Let's have a little look. Oh, he's at half health. Oh, let's go back to the normal speed. There's a GC right behind him, and there's Titongus. Well, that was pure luck that we happened to click on him while the commander under attack was underway. We would have missed that. And with it, a 4v2 favouring Team 2. Team 1 with half as many players. There was just a decent scouting run there from Nutteber, who did see a shitload of strategic bombers. He was on the ball. Gabber doing the right thing and splitting them up. He's got 31 bombers, and it looks like it's going to be curtains for some of them, so he sends the other lot in. They are Cybran bombers, so he will be able to stealth those up. I assume he's done so, and he has, so they will not appear on radar. And then he backs off. Decides not to pursue. Perhaps doesn't feel he's got enough to get through all the SAMs. Alright, let's slow time down just a little bit. it looks like Kretin has handed off and just running away, basically. Okay. And Nutteber, who's working on what will be the third Paragon for his team, as what I suspect to be Billy Nuke impacting there. Yes, it is More Than a Jedi now with 154,000 mass killed. 176 kills total. And 2 salvations now from Nutteber. Nutteber, the 1300, who is by himself, it would seem. Kretin there in name only. Versus 4 players, although does control the entire southern pond. Has booted Team 2 off the coastal regions surrounding said pond. And yeah, this is unfortunate. Okay, maybe a deliberate choice. Kills 1 battleship, but with this many battleships with experimentals, the GC is not going to last long. I'm not sure trading it for 1 T3 battleship was worth it. Gabber makes a run with his strategic bombers. There's a lot of defense here, a lot of SAM site coverage. This, by the way, is how I think SAM site coverage is to be done. You, rather than just drawing a line, you just dot them sporadically. It looks like Nutteber's actually got himself a little template there, avoiding splash damage on them. And he can just drag that out wherever he wants. Working well. Greedyscoobs going for the missile ships. Well, if you're Aeon and you completely dominate the sea, why not? The Torrent class, and that's going to boot Team 1. It's basically going to deny them almost half of their land area. Jedi working up further north with Spam. Up, see what he controls. The airbase. He's still got the 2 salvations. He's got a couple of GCs. Actually, Kretin with a couple of GCs as well. So Kretin is still there. Even if he's deciding not to build, he is still issuing orders. So it's not just AFK. I hope that continues. Nutteber as well with a scout and run. And of course, it goes without saying, at this moment in time, we have to root for Nutteber.
Strategic launch detected.
We're into the mark of epicosity now. 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Strategic launch detected.
If you are enjoying the game, do give it a like. Not so much it makes that much difference to me, but it does help the algorithm.
Strategic launch detected.
And with it, more views, and then with it, more potential new players. Greedyscoobs with several nuclear subs fires in. A well-positioned strategic missile defense there shoots down 2 of the incoming nukes. Unfortunately, it looks like the 3rd one may get in. There were no missiles left, and that is going to be a great nuke. We've got the 2 salvations there. If ever there was a nuke worth firing, that was it. And with it, the amount of damage that the artillery has caused, granted, at one point there were 7, and they were down to just 1. Nutteber recently establishing the 2nd salvation, but Team 2 are going to breathe a sigh of relief over that. Let's just have a little look here, Greedy. He's got 12 nuclear subs. And Gabber has a couple as well, the Cybran ones. Just curious, actually, the Cybran, of course, with their TAC missile, the Aeon. No, I didn't think so. In fact, look at the amount of stats the Cybran nuclear sub has. There's 8, and then the Aeon one, 4. So that's quite a few differences there. Of course, game would be shit if all the units were the same.
Strategic launch detected. Strategic launch detected.
Oh,
Strategic launch detected.
Greedyscoobs here. What's that? I'm counting at
Strategic
least
launch
8.
detected.
There's a 9th from Gabber. And it's aimed. Oh, the Paragon's almost about to go on from Nutteber. Wow. The strategic missile defense there completely overwhelmed. It shot down several of the nukes. I suspect even if it had enough anti-nukes in, which of course they don't, they only hold, what is it, six or 7 in total. The speed at which those nukes were coming in, it was clearly getting overwhelmed. Science thinks it dies, or thinks it died. Yes, it did. I'm not sure entirely how many nukes did impact, but it was at least 3 or 4. And so Nutteber, with a Paragon that was 90% thereabouts online, loses it. And Nutteber again. Team 1, Team 2. Bit of a mistake here, I think. Not backing off, allowing Team 2 to re-establish on the coastline. Making use of the mechs. There's also a hell of a lot of reclaim down there.
Strategic
A
launch
hell of a
detected.
lot.
Strategic launch detected.
And with the absence
Strategic
of
launch detected.
the long-range artillery, Team 2 may have been a little short on power before. I'm not... it's always one of the issues. 3 nukes fired in at this portion of Nutteber's base. Nutteber deals with it quite well. Let's have a look at what his eco is doing. 1.2k, 69k energy, so actually not great. So if we take a look at live incomes, Team 2 almost 2 to 1 ahead on mass per tick. Energy wise, it's more like 4 to 1, somewhere between 3 and 4. And Jedi still Billy nuking away. Oh, I'm not sure if he got a support commander. He might have picked. I don't think he did. He certainly damaged a few. Nutteber needs some more TAC missile defense. I mean, these nuclear subs, they've got one hell of a range as well with these TAC missiles. I think they're actually outranged the Torrent class. And it looks like Nutteber did hear us, moves back towards the coastline. Perhaps its plan was, you know what, I'm going to let him spend a load of eco trying to re-establish.
Strategic launch detected.
And then I'll move in and kill it.
Strategic
Which is, of course, a very
detected.
legit strat. It's at least 4 subs out. And this is a shed load of aircraft carriers. Whoa! How many aircraft carriers has Nutteber got? Well, however many he's got, he doesn't have as many. 87! What the hell? I should have to think how many he had before those nukes impacted.
Strategic launch detected.
Let's have a little look on the side island. Oh, it looks like he started on yet another Paragon. He's got a lot of support commanders working on this. And there's a lot of nukes going up. Again from Team 2. And Nutteber's base getting pummeled. 1 nuke shot down. Oh, nuke 2 and 3 are going to impact. And that is a lot of economy that just got wiped out. Nutteber well under 1,000 mass per tick now. Although there is a lot of reclaim. The question is whether he can access the reclaim. If not, the nukes get rid of that. And that looks like we've got long-range artillery coming from across the map.
Detected.
Now picking off Nutteber's side island.
Strategic launch detected.
I mean, how do you defend against this many
Strategic launch
nukes?
detected.
Go back to regular speed. There's so much happening. My mistake. Well, could have been hiding in there. Nuke intercepted. So Kretin is still on station. There we see the orders. Don't turn the GCs around. They can't shoot behind them. You need to have them shooting. There's a Billy nuke, and oh, it did impact. It looked almost like it got deflected. Lots of spam there from Jedi. Doesn't look like it's going to cause too much damage. We also have a couple of GCs from Nutteber further north.
Launch detected.
And just so many nukes impacting. Nutteber is now coming out with
detected.
support commanders, and he is getting his hands on a lot of this reclaim. More nukes out.
Strategic launch detected. Strategic launch detected.
And that nuke shot down. Every nuke shot down is so critical, but I gotta say, Nutteber or Nutteber, whatever. I do apologise because when you see a 1300 with the tenacity such as this,
strategic launch detected.
I mean, how many nukes can one guy eat before he's ready to call it quits? Oh, down to 800 and odd mass. It's like both commanders running south, the two commanders that remain for Team 1. Oh, that hurt. Let's have a little look. Okay, his mind mass ain't going to be great,
Strategic
but
launch detected.
he's got a lot of recon. What's this guy doing? What the hell is that?
Strategic launch detected.
I have never seen that before. Is that what they do when they're upgrading a summit? Because to me that just looks ridiculous, but you never know. Actually looks pretty cool. It's malfunctioning. More nukes out.
Strategic launch
So
detected.
what's new? And for now, oh, well, looks like the twisty support comm is no more. Spam Meg, says Greedy. Well, he's certainly got the build capacity. What is this? One of the first counter-attacks that we've seen for a while from Team 1. I suppose it was never going to change too much, but oh, there's another GC.
Strategic launch
And with so
detected.
many support commanders and a UFO, we're only going to change so much. But at least it gives Team 2 a moment of pause. As more nukes continue to come out, we return to full
Strategic launch
speed.
detected.
Mass 3-1 favouring Team 2 right now, as yet another nuke impacts. Nutteber, whose eco, aside from the side island, must be almost entirely made up from reclaim and mobile. I don't believe this! How did that Paragon complete so quickly? I knew he was working on one, I just assumed it's going to take forever. I mean, look how slow the hit points are ticking up. But you know what? He's only got 200 hit points to go. And is that... I think that's the fourth Paragon. The third one was 90-odd%, never made it online. But this is the fourth, at least the fourth that I've seen. It's possible I missed one or two, who knows, right? But in any case, it didn't last long if there was. See here from the mass scores that, well, that Paragon couldn't come soon enough. I think Team 2 could be a little bit more aggressive with this side. They keep trying to nuke it, and there is nuke defense. Okay, we've got several...
Strategic launch detected. Strategic launch detected.
Okay, so they're now prioritizing the experimentals. Kretin doing the right thing, moving his experimentals upon hearing the nuclear launch. Actually moves them forward. Not a bad decision. I'm sure one of those nukes impacted a plane on the way down.
Strategic launch detected.
Still more nukes coming in. And if we take a look at the mass consumption, Nutteber's for sure gotten his paragon up. It's a mystery that he was even able to fund these nuke defenses while building a paragon, but it looks like 2 get through. There's a lot of build capacity that's... I thought it was going to go up, but it doesn't. 3 more nukes coming in. Are they going for the... No, they are going to go for that build capacity. Oh, there we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, Nutteber then. And he has 76 aircraft carriers, which are, of course, well, they're not just aircraft carriers, they're mobile aircraft factories, right? And as far as I can tell, they are all producing aircraft right now. He just needs to be able to hold this island. He's got defense sat overhead, which is not good. He loses strategic missile defense. He's not going to want to lose too many of these. Titongus tells him more shields from beyond the grave. Absolutely.
Strategic launch detected.
Big chunk of health just got wiped off that shield, so there's definitely artillery coming in. Nutteber, who's now outproducing Team 2 mass-wise. It's going to be a build capacity issue. We've got a shitload of torpedo bombers going after the nuclear subs here belonging to Nutteber. 7 of them remain, lots of them getting shot down. The nuclear subs rather, fire their nukes in panic. Kretin managing to save most of the GCs, but they do run into a GC and a megalith. There's another megalith further back. Meanwhile, further to the south, we've got ourselves our first aggressive incursion for quite some time as Nutteber flies a donut in. There's a lot of SAMs covering the area. The shield of the donut goes down. One more volley should do it. Although the donut flies on. The donut flies on and he spots an area with little anti-air coverage. This is a SAT, the SAT that's been harassing Nutteber's side island. He picks that off. I don't believe this. Is there no anti-air here at all? From Team 2, Nutteber with a second UFO. Again, heavily damaged flying over the SAMs. But further back, there seems to be no coverage whatsoever. A huge power / mass fabricator grid there belonging to Jedi going up. And I don't believe, look at the health. 100 hit points, come on. There we go, finally. 1 donut remains. Let's have a look elsewhere. Nukes still raining down on Team 1 side of the map. If we take a look at the nuclear sub-range, we can see it's this red ring, not quite able to reach the side islands. Commander under attack. Another attack further north. Again, nuke shot down. A few Titans. Well, there's support commanders here. There's Tech 2-point defense. I suppose their priority really needs to be the anti-nuke. I don't think they're going to defeat what's there otherwise. Taking a quick look then Well, Nutteber's still roaming around with these donuts. I think he's producing them in the sea, using his support commanders. Huge scouting effort there by Gabber to find out what's going on, and clears out what would have been Nutteber's starting location entirely. He's got like one mass point and one SAM left. And Kretin finally defeated by MoreThanAJedi. That must have been... where was it? In the sea. Must have been here. So Kretin moving forward. And so here we are at 1 minute. Oh, sorry, 1 minute. 1 hour, 21 minutes.
Detected.
It is a 4 versus 1. Favouring Team 2. Team 2, this is what they look like. With a huge advantage on territory. But Team 1, Nutteber, all by his lonesome, has himself a side island with a Paragon. And for now, Team 2 do not have an answer. And he's just got an infinite amount of air factories, also known as aircraft carriers. And provided he doesn't clump them together, it's going to be hard to nuke them. We've got 3 aircraft carriers here, or 4, should I say, experimental aircraft carriers from the UEF. Nutteber's spotted them and is going after them with Tech 3 torpedo bombers. It's a clever bit of a distance build thing going on, but there is nowhere near enough. Another nuke impacts.
Strategic launch detected.
Nutteber's commanders here.
Strategic launch detected.
And we have several nukes going after the side island. Nutteber, who's been able to clear out large portions of Team 2's base with 3 GCs following the donuts. Donut here that's been forgotten about. Team 2 really need to get build capacity back on. Oh, finally, a shed load of nukes impacting there. I don't know how many nukes have been fired this game and how many have been shot down, but it's been a large number. Gabber here with a megalith.
Strategic launch detected.
I can't see anything there capable of stopping the megalith. Unless, of course, megalith fires into the side of a cliff, but other than that, Team 1 is reduced now entirely to the sea and the side island. As restorers from Nutteber begin to make landfall. Nukes moving in.
Strategic launch detected.
These here,
Strategic launch detected.
sonar from Team 2.
Strategic
Basically
launch
everything
detected.
that's not khaki belongs to Team 2. So they pick off a large production facility there from Nutteber. Lots of build capacity. As the nukes continue raining down, there's one thing that Team 2 do not appear short of. It is nukes. But most of them,
Strategic launch detected.
if not all, tied up with these nuclear subs that are unable to reach the island. Nutteber now
Strategic
with
launch
restorers going after the forward expansion there of MrScience. Up for the first time. The irony here that Team 2 have more of a presence on what would be Team 1's side of the island. How many donuts is this? Well, 8 of them on screen, 11 of them overall. 1 hour 25, Team 2 still yet to lose a player. Both teams pulling in 1900 mass per tick. Nutteber sitting pretty on his side island, but needs space. Of course, no ability to build nuclear defense out at sea. "64 aircraft carriers remain."
Strategic launch detected. Strategic launch detected.
Restorers going after support commanders there from Jedi, who's trying to rebuild. Team 2 have been partially successful at rebuilding. Nutteber finally going after these experimentals that cleared out his base. And Donuts now making their way to the side island belonging to Team 2, the opposite of which is responsible for all this devastation. And with that, it's one of those rare games where the majority of the players and their units as production is based at sea, because both teams are able to hit each other's surface targets quite effectively. One with air, the other with nukes. Science trying to establish quantum gateway system. It's like a crab from Team 2 was able to get quite close. And we've got 3 sats belonging to Jedi trying to burn through the shields. A few layered shields and quite a lot of assistance there, so I think it's going to take more than just 3 shields.
Strategic launch detected.
Jedi flying himself around. This is of course the UEF commander with the Billy nuke. Good question, do we have... And yes, we do have TAP missile defense on the island. Nutteber's thought about it. Nutteber, who, well, he doesn't really need to be particularly careful with his restorers. Down goes 2, or at least 2 of the sats belonging to Jedi.
Strategic launch
when you've got
detected.
So many air factories. Out comes the nuke from Nutteber, been a while. And 58 aircraft carriers. So not quite as many as before. Fires a nuke, and the nuke is intercepted by Team 2. Nutteber, wonder if he sees Jedi coming. Let's have a little look. Well, not as of right now. This here is not good. Greedyscoobs pulling Nutteber's air over the top of Jedi. He's going to get spotted because of that. And he's spotted now. That was a mistake. I mean, you could argue he'd maybe get spotted anyway, but that was a little bit of a mistake. Titongus highlights it for Nutteber. You have yourself a commander. Where did his commander go? Well, it's underwater. You need a spy plane. Jedi has successfully highlighted Nutteber's commander. So, yeah, you only need to kill that one unit and you've won. 4 players to do it. I just start to get the feeling that unless they can do something quick, the more this goes on, the stronger Nutteber is getting. Team 2 down to 1.2 K-mass per tick. Out goes Billy Nuke. Fires at the Restorers. Such a large group of Restorers, though. It's only so much that you can do. These are T3 torpedo bombers. And that's going to be a one-hit wonder. And there we have it. 1 hour, 31 minutes. And our first player from Team 2 dies. Nutteber with the first kill. 91 minutes. Can't believe we let them make 3 paras, says Jedi. Yeah, well, it were 3 as far as I can tell, successful paras. And there was at least 1, if not 2 more that were partially complete. 1 that was like 90-odd%. And I gotta say, like, how many players would have quit when it's 4v1 and you were 90-odd% complete with a Paragon and it got blown up? I mean, I'd have quit. I don't mind saying that would have been it. Almost no land control. He was 3-1 down on eco, 4-1 down on players. Or maybe Kretin was there, sort of in name only, but regardless. So huge credit to Nutteber there for not quitting. And look at this. Almost 200 Restorers. As they're getting shot down, all these aircraft carriers just producing more and more and more. Nutteber, who is now establishing a land presence, trying to get some anti-nuke online. I can understand why that is. Trying to preserve build capacity. It's actually got a bunch of GCs out the water as well. MrScience has 1 GC to try and stop it. That's not going to work.
Strategic launch detected. Strategic launch detected.
See what Team 2 can see. Well, mass and energy buffers are full. They just don't have the build capacity anymore. More defensive nukes. Nicely done. Nutteber with a shitload of Torrent class missile ships of his own. But the real threat is coming from out of range. And that is the Paragon on the side, coupled with the mobile aircraft carrier fleet that Nutteber is not concentrating, but is keeping them spaced out and far away from nuclear sub range. Wow. Not often that you see a game like this at all. Nutteber with 3 GCs down there as well. Do have the occasional engineer dotted about, but I think it's going to be far too late for Team 2 to try and do very much with them. Titongus highlighting the nuclear subs. Especially when they've got TAP missile launcher on top, that's always a giveaway.
Strategic launch detected.
Jedi still not giving up, telling his team to keep spamming anti-air or flak. T2 or T3. There's an Omni sensor there from Team 2. Just wonder, before it goes down, can they see the enemy commander? Well, no, they can't. Do they even have a dot for him? No, they don't. Nuke goes out just as one goes in, and that looks like it's going to connect with MrScience. And at 1 hour 35, Nutteber gets his 3rd kill. And with all of these torpedo bombers in, it's now a 1 versus 1. Gabber versus Nutteber. Gabber, who's got a reasonable mobile eco, 800 odd mass per tick, but what else can he do really other than spam anti-air to try and do something about all this air that Nutteber has? But Nutteber, well, he just produces more, right? Take a look at these nuclear subs. They just can't reach. As Nutteber clears out this northern area that should rightfully belong to his team anyway, for at least the 2nd time this game. And with that, with the exception of a couple of mass points, actually credit to Gabber, who is attempting to re-establish over here. Looks like perhaps that was his teammate before he got killed. But there's basically 3 or 4 structures separating him from a complete eviction from all land. Nutteber, who has begun to re-establish. Look at all these anti-nukes. Anyone would think this guy'd been nuked. 22 anti-nukes covering the side there. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Do you know what? I think the game has crashed. I can't believe it. Do you think I'm going to recast that whole thing because the game's crashed? I'll give you a clue. No, I'm not. Very well played to both players. I think we can see where that one was going. I'm so frustrated that that crashed right at the end, but I can frankly see no way back from Gabber. He can't even see where Nutteber's commander is. Nutteber's got so much anti-air, so many anti-nukes. The subs don't reach. Like, there could be a telemazer. No, they couldn't because... Oh, yeah, there could be a telemazer, but Nutteber's underwater. And again, you can't teleport to where you can't see. All right, well, it's been a long one. I do hope you enjoyed the game very much. I like to thank everybody who supports over on Patreon. It's not going to be something that I'm going to speak about much anymore. I'm too temperamental during the winter time. So if you do want to support the channel, that's great. But if not, you know, that's fine too. Times are hard, I know it. So until next time, wherever in the world you may be, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And yeah, sorry for a shit ending because, well, the game crashed, but... It might have gone on for another 2 or 3 minutes, who knows. All right, until next time, ta-ra.